This is your Neepawa Town Council Debrief for the June the 7th, 2022 meeting. The debrief will take you through the key issues being discussed by Council and provide a bit more information on what they mean for the town. Because of the length of this week's Council meeting, we will again be airing it in two parts, so we will have a separate debrief for each part. This is part one. In Councillor Reports this week, we get a good cross-section of what different organizations in the area are working on. One particularly interesting tidbit was that the local physician recruitment team has made contact with a group of international medical doctors and internationally trained nurses, and are working with them to get the necessary credentials to begin working in our region.
Councilor Putt. I've got 3 items. The Storefront Improvement Incentive Program received an application for approval later this evening. Century 21 West End Realty has put in a funding request in the amount of $3,400 to assist in covering the total cost of $6,863.50 to upgrade the signage for the offices on Mountain Avenue. There will be a resolution to approve the application later in tonight's meeting. Economic Development Officer Marilyn Crew and myself had the opportunity to attend the Community Consultation World Cafe on the evening of May 18th at Arts Forward. The event was sponsored by the Salvation Army. We had a great discussion of what's going well in our community, as well as a discussion on needs for our rapidly growing community. Special thanks to Amanda Nightingale and the Salvation Army for hosting the event that had a very valuable dialogue. Many of the topics discussed that evening are many of the same topics that the Town Council is presently discussing. And my third item, a special thanks to Abby, our pool supervisor at the Neepawa swimming pool, who has been instrumental in ensuring the pool functions properly for the past 5 years. Abby put in her last day in at the pool on June 3rd, and the town of Neepawa wishes her all the very best as she's starting her full-time career in Alberta later this month. That's everything I've got.
Okay, thank you, Darren. Anybody else within council? Send it up.
You know, I've got 3 also, so this is really surprising. On May 18th, the Western Manitoba Regional Library Board met, and we've decided on a new director of library services. So congratulations to Erica Martin, who we're promoting from within. She was actually the interim director, and she also was the technological services advisor. So she's got a lot of education, a lot of experience, and a lot of good rapport with our staff for the whole region. So it's exciting because she's got some really great ideas, and we can see the library moving forward. On June 2nd, the Rossburn Trail Association was supposed to meet in Neepawa, and we were hosting. Unfortunately, because of the weather, actually it was good weather, where people that are on the Trail Association couldn't make it because they had to get on their fields seeding and stuff. They all had to send their regrets because that took priority, and we weren't able to meet. However, I've got a nice little bonus here. Here's some Rossburn Trail Association. Here's a nice sweater. And I've got a couple t-shirts here that was given to me for Neepawa. So what I'd like to do is task our administration to maybe offer some sort of get out on the trail activity where you can wear these different t-shirts. So there's 2 t-shirts and a nice sweater. You won't need it with this weather, but they've got the logo kind of embroidered in really nice. So definitely it's nice to get some goodies sometimes, and that'll hopefully get people out on the trail more. In addition to that, I can tell you, I have the grade 6 middle school, one of the classes is going to be working with the Lions to clean a section of trail, just to help out in their community. And I hope to get a nice photo up there and see some really good things happening to help support our community in the trail. And one last thing from me, I was able to gather everyone on May 26th for a Neepawa Library Local Advisory Committee. So we haven't had one of those in a long time. It's going to be about 2 years to have a local advisory committee meeting. So it was really nice to have the committee out, and we looked back at what was last spoken about at the last meeting, and we explored some new ideas moving forward. So it's nice to get everybody out again, and we hope to have more regular meetings again now that COVID is kind of subdued. And that's everything.
Thank you, Jason. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Council Barrett.
So, kind of everything's kind of all happening at once. But with physician recruitment, we've been able to make contact with some international medical doctors and international trained RNs. And we're setting up a kind of like a task force to get these people with their credentials so that they can help support our health system and hopefully in this region. Along with settlement services, Don Walmsley and Prairie Mountain Health League, HR, Jerry Gattinger. We're working all together with the local doctors to see how we can integrate them into our own system here. We've been talking about a rural training center for a while now, and it's becoming more and more on the radar with some outside interest being shown. And it's just one of those things we've been having lots of talks about, trying to make it happen. Made contact with a regional developer who may be interested in helping set up another housing subdivision in town. The NADCO audit is completed and just needs to be approved at our next NADCO meeting, but the draft is already with the auditor. And of course, as a town council, we're always having ongoing meetings in preparation for all the different housing options that we need to look at for what is coming down the pipe in Neepawa. We're going to have to do a lot of planning to make sure that we can accommodate the housing needs that are right on our forefront. Neepawa's next census is going to be a lot different. End of report.
Thank you, Marie. Yeah, I think that's, the housing has become a big part of our discussions at the table here. I mean, we know that we're a town of 6,000, and as Murray says, maybe in the next 5 years we might see as much as another 1,000. And I mean, it's, yeah, we have a major problem coming with housing, and yeah, we're looking at all avenues, and yeah, whether it's private or whether the town's going to have to look at doing something a little bit more. I think, I know Denise is going to talk about Eastview tonight. Some lots we can do there, but yeah, we're working as much as we can.
Director of Operations Denise Sakay was pleased to be able to report on the success of the operation over the May long weekend to connect the new reservoir to the local water system. Despite difficult working conditions, the work went smoothly, and the town was able to lift the precautionary boil water advisory after just 2 days. The new reservoir isn't the only project nearing completion. Sakay also reports that the new RCMP local headquarters is nearly finished and has received the seal of approval from officers stationed locally. It is expected that they will move into the new facility within the month. Of interest to everyone, town staff have been working to fill the rampant potholes with cold mix, and hot mix and sealant are expected to become available soon. This year has been particularly bad for potholes, and the town appreciates everyone's patience as they work to alleviate the problem. Sakay reports on some work being done at the airport to deal with drainage and tenant issues. It is interesting to note, and many people may not realize, that the airport is a unique situation for the town in that it is a property located inside another RM, so any improvements we make to it will actually increase the taxes that we pay.
I guess we'll talk about some of the projects. So the biggest one that we've probably accomplished would be on the May long weekend. We had the water shut down for the community, and we had all water advisory issued. Please say the work progressed really nice. The water was off slightly longer than I hoped, but I'll take that opposed to being rainy and having to repair all night. So the operators worked with what they had. Conditions were pretty miserable, or so many points for us. But no, I was pleased with the contractor. Everything went well. Work was performed very well. Everything was cleaned, obviously, because all our results came back clear. Potable water again, and just happy to out from there. The following week, the contractor completed the final hookup of those new hookups we did to the reservoir tank. So now our contractors are still diligently working to complete the remainder of the project. But it's nice to see that the backfill going in there and the whole site taking shape now. So that project is moving along really nice. The next one I wanted to go see was actually I said for a while, will be the new RCMP build. And Staff Sergeant Colby was there, and I was Mark, and they're blown away with the quality of the building. They're super excited to be in there. That place again is taking shape. They're in the painting stages, the flooring stages, so everything is really nice in there. Coming weeks will definitely show us what we got in there, and hopefully be moving in, I believe, in the month or so here. So that's another exciting one. Staff have been busy. I said they went from no grass growing to everything at once, so we've looked to hire a few more students to help assist with managing everything. Then moving along, Public Works has to do 2 different water leaks. Luckily they weren't watering breaks, but just service leaks. 2 within a week here, so they repaired one this morning on 2nd Avenue, the other one's right at the courthouse. So those came back, and staff worked hard on those, got going. As with anything else, potholes have been tackled and keep remaining tackled. Staff have been going for cold mix, and I don't think they've tackled any hot mix yet. They're not getting their hands on any yet, but we keep tackling potholes. And I did finally make contact with one of our contractors who will be out to use the emulsified product again to fill those potholes and line up some crack sealing. Cracks in the bring another month or 2 before they get here for that. But the patch should be here within a couple weeks, so we can get them tackling all these nasty buggers around town. Other than that, cemetery staff also started where we had them integrated in the parks, so they're working there and tending to graves. We have another student that started the bike park, so Hayden is repairing our trails for us and working everything in. And then I forgot something, but yeah, everyone's busy and working hard.
Perfect. Any comments? Just a few questions. Well, comment. With all the student staff, a large part of that is still funded through the Green Team program and those people. So the Green Team is funding that person who's out at the bike park currently, right? So it's not just necessarily more hired by the town, but through a program that's there for that. So it's not directly on tax bills to see that student working out there. I guess just following up regarding some comments from some ratepayers. I guess there's a couple comments. One would be out at the airport. I know we were waiting for some locates and that to deal with that drainage issue we've got going on at the airport. Where is that project stand today?
That one's still waiting on locates. Unfortunately, we've got a number of locates that are outstanding. But I did send staff over there to start pumping out some of the sump and low points. See if we can alleviate some of the drainage in that area, because that will also help with trying to excavate, trying to work with the slurry doesn't exactly dig very well. So I believe staff did their best to pump and lower that water level for us.
Great, and then the other one comment, and it was just more on my side there. We seem to have a tenant out there that's sprawling quite a bit. Notice that there's a lack of access to other hangars and things like that based on some of the sprawl that's occurring. And then I've noticed now we're seeing more water mixing tanks starting to show up in various locations of that. Is there anything that we can do in terms of, incurring some revenue from the use of that facility? I mean, it kind of goes beyond the normal operation of that facility, how other airplanes are using that today.
You are correct. And to me, they have identified placards locating them to a direct business that's already established there. And with their sprawling equipment, I believe that should follow suit with their hangar square footage. So we've been in negotiations and started looking at levies on some for that.
Yeah, and I noticed 2 fuel tanks. There seems to be a few more sets of fuel tanks. And does that put us in any kind of a position regarding liability with fuel tanks being on site there?
For those fuel tanks, they should be following their insurance protocols. I know that Highlight inquired, they went through their insurance company, they found that all the due diligence they had to do to ensure that they had safe storage. As with the other companies, they had to follow the same suit, but again, we'll follow up to make sure there's no new ones that are popping up.
But if they pick up and move tomorrow, are we as a community protected on that, or is that something that we need to be more aware of?
That's where I talked to a provincial agent, they'll come out and do some inspections and see if it follows all protocols.
Yeah, I went out on the water issue, and then I noticed you couldn't even get to a set of hangars because one tenant had the entire area blocked off. So just to make sure that we can have a functioning airport within our community.
I'm gonna take a little bit of ownership on laying that. As you know, I've been trying to take some time to look at the overall run of the airport in relation to what should be charged for rent and use of structures that exist out there based on the leases that currently exist. So Jody has done a little bit of research on that as well, but it is sitting on my desk here.
Okay, no, and it's just, like I said, it's just because it was in
So it
relation to
hasn't
that
been
construction.
forgotten.
No, I appreciate that. And it's a special piece of property because
Absolutely.
it's town property inside of another RM, and
Yes.
any improvements we make there would actually increase the taxes we have to pay on that property. So I understand there's some special provisions going on with the Neepawa Airport.
We'll get to it.
Just to go back to the boil water, I think, like I heard nothing but positive comments in the community. Like everybody seemed to have a good understanding inside the town of Neepawa what was going to occur, and I think everybody was really happy on the timelines. Like I heard nothing but positive things. I thought it was a really well done project. So good for you guys.
Yeah, your crew did a fantastic job. They were drilling on the spot everywhere.
No, good. And just to go back to my other question, the second phase of Eastview Law, it is kind of now on the radar, right?
Yeah, well, it's a priority dates first, but Eastview Lodge 2, to the extension of those three, will occur this year.
Okay, and that's on 11 lots, correct?
I believe it's 11 months.
Okay, thank you.
Festival season is coming, or some may say it has already started. For 2 consecutive weekends in June, the town has approved the temporary closure of portions of Mountain Avenue and Hamilton Street for parades. The first is on June 18th for the Filipino Heritage Month Parade, and the second is on June 25th for the Class of 2022 Graduation Parade. They also approved the use of Riverbend Park for the fireworks display on Canada Day this year, which is the first that we have had in now 3 years.
Okay, we are getting back to having some parades. So the Filipino Heritage Parade is back on for this year, and I'm just looking for a resolution from the council that they can go ahead on June the 18th and be able to move through certain parts of town as we normally do to make sure that everybody stays safe and secure. So yes, Councilor Gerard, is that just a motion? Yeah. Okay, moved by Councilor Gerard, seconded by Councilor Pudlow. Be it resolved that in order to facilitate the 2022 Filipino Heritage Parade scheduled for Saturday, June the 18th, 2022 at 2 p.m., we have hereby authorized the closure of that part of Mountain Avenue from the Yellowhead Center to Hamilton Street and that part of Hamilton Street from Mountain Avenue eastward to Riverbend Park. These portions of the street to remain closed until the end of the parade. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and we have kind of the same thing going on for the 2022 graduation parade, and again, we're looking to close certain parts of the street on Saturday, June the 25th. And I have a motion on that. Moved by Councilor Costa. Second by Deputy Mayor Hendrick. Be it resolved that in order to facilitate the 2022 graduation parade scheduled for Saturday, June the 25th, 2022 at 4 p.m., we hereby authorize the closure of that part of Mountain Avenue from the Yellowhead Center to Hamilton Street and that part of Hamilton Street from Mountain Avenue westward to the Beautiful Plains Museum. These portions of the street to remain closed until the end of the parade. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and I guess we're also looking for an approval to host the fireworks display. So again, that's going to be on July the 1st. 2022, anything on that copy? That's the motion. Yep.
Well, there's a lot of stuff planned, and I didn't bring the posters, so, you know, check the website.
And we've been rolling that money up for the
Yeah.
fireworks, right? So there'll be more fireworks than normal. Okay, moved by Councilor Butler, seconded by Councilor Costa. Be it resolved that we hereby approve the hosting of a fireworks display at Riverbend Park in Neepawa, Manitoba on July the 1st, 2022 in celebration of Canada Day. All in favor?
I guess I will add one thing. You might be able to, if timing works out, see the shiny new fire truck there that day.
Right.
So we'll keep you posted.
I've read the poster, it's amazing. We've got bouncy structures coming back, we've got bands performing, we have a flyby coming from the Canadian Air Force. Like, it's an incredible day setting up for Canada Day. It's so nice to see 2 years later that it's gonna feel like the last 2 years haven't happened.
I'll maybe add to that, we did shorten the day such that we bumped it more into the afternoon and evening, because when we started early in the day with the pancake breakfast and tried to organize the activities throughout the day, there was a lag mid-afternoon when families wanted their kids to rest, and then you don't quite get the similar crowd. So by bumping it up, I think it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and running that through the fireworks, we should have a constant flow of people around the town, and it'll be really great.
Free swim as well. I mean, it's incredible how much is already on the books for that day.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Council also discussed an increase in the mileage amount paid to town staff who use private vehicles for town purposes. After discussion, the amount was raised from 40 cents to 60 cents a kilometer. Many businesses are struggling with how to handle mileage in this time when fuel prices continue to trend upwards. This conversation may provide a model for how to proceed.
Okay, we are looking, I think this is pretty straightforward too. We're just looking at an increase to the mileage rate for privately owned vehicles operating on municipal business from 40 cents to 55 cents. Seems reasonable with the price of gas, as far as I can tell.
I'm just wondering if we raised it enough.
Yeah.
If it's over $2 today.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't actually.
Planning board is 70 cents.
Okay.
So Canada Revenue currently tells you that between 55 and 63 cents is permittable. Anything over that would be, what do you call it when you get some?
Taxable benefit.
A taxable benefit, yeah. So if we do raise it, we can go to 70 without putting more on employees also, right?
Paperwork, you're saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you went to 70 cents per kilometer, now you have a taxable benefit.
So 63 is the max.
Well, that will go.
So do we have an opinion at the table whether we should take it from 55 to 63 or just leave it where it is for the moment?
So the difference, call it 60 cents.
Sure, I'm good with that.
I would second that. Friendly amendment.
Okay.
So friendly,
Friendly.
Gerard and,
So can I just change that in my motion then?
I'll write it on mine, but you can change it to 60 cents.
Okay, and that was moved by Councilor Ledoux.
So we'll approve the amendment first.
Oh, okay, sorry. So we approved the amendment by Councilor Ledoux and Councilor Trard. And then we're going to move forward with
And
the new
then you're
motion.
going to do the whole motion.
Okay, moved by Councilor Perry, right? And seconded by Councilor Constantine. Okay, I get this. Be it resolved that we approve an amendment to expenses and reimbursement policy F-015 to increase the mileage rate for the use of privately owned vehicles by conducting municipal business from 40 cents per kilometer traveled to 60 cents per kilometer traveled. All in favor? Okay.
I'll maybe add at the end of this, just for the public, just so you know, there's very, very little, minimal mileage ever comes across our desk or paid as an expense in the town of Neepawa. So changing it from 55 to 60 cents, even changing it from 40 cents is really going to be an extra number on the budget. Nobody hardly ever submits anything, staff or council.
We finish out the first half of the council meeting with a pair of subdivision requests, one of which is routine and the other which might be anything but. The first was to divide a lot on the former CN property to allow for the construction of a duplex with separate titles. Now, several of these have been done already, so the process has been quite streamlined. The second was a rezoning of a 39-acre parcel of land just east of Broadway Avenue and Riverbend Campground from residential hold property to institutional development. At this point, this is speculation and no announcement has been made. However, this matches almost exactly the needs set out for the development of the new hospital and medical center. In a statement given to the Neepawa Banner and Press, Mayor Blake McCutcheon said, "The province, town of Neepawa, and Capital Health planning teams are working with local landowners to establish a site for the new hospital. Technical due diligence is being completed and a detailed planning process is underway to confirm the availability and configuration of the site. When this process is complete and approval of the sale is finalized, more information will be available."
Okay, we're into another subdivision, Colleen.
So this is also subdivision file 4437-22-8407. The applicant is Scott Miller and Murray, land owned by Dan and Leanne Zettler. Proposed subdivision is in the southwest quarter of 341415. The intent of this subdivision is to create a new lot for an institutional development. There are no buildings on the portion of property to be subdivided. The residual has a dwelling on it with access that will be on PTH number 16, with secondary access to municipal roads to the east and west. A new public road is proposed in order to connect these two access points. Municipal and sewer and water are available or will be made available for the site and proposed to be used. There is proposed drainage works as part of the subdivision. The land in question is designated residential hold area in the Neepawa Area Planning District Development Plan. A portion of the proposed road may be designated highway commercial hold. A redesignation of this land from residential hold to institutional will be required. Under the Town of Neepawa zoning bylaw, it meets all the requirements for size, but a zoning amendment will be required. Land titles will look for a 2-lot plan of subdivision. Drainage and water rights licensing, proposed water control works fall within the designated urban area and therefore do not require a water rights license to construct water control works, provided those water control works do not drain class 3, 4, or 5 wetlands or outlet onto areas outside of the urban area. Mines Branch has no concerns, Manitoba Agriculture has no concerns, but notes that the rezoning will be required. Hydro will require easements, and the other comments relate to Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure, which is highways. They do not object. They are requesting that the proposed public road connection on PTH 16 be aligned and conform to the existing functional plan for PTH 16. And they would like written confirmation that sufficient information has been provided to determine if drainage from the site may adversely affect the provincial highway drainage system. If necessary, they may require a drainage plan. So it's a 39-acre subdivision.
So as always, this is just the first step, correct?
For subdivision, this will go into community and regional planning.
Right.
There will be conditional approval granted to meet all the terms.
Okay, perfect. No question. Is there any questions, any comments? If not, we will move forward to that motion. Moved by Council Perry. Seconded by Council Perry. Be it resolved that we approve subdivision application 4437-22-8407 of Miller and Murray to subdivide a 39-acre parcel from Southwest 3414-15W, subject to the completion of the development plan amendment, changing the land use designation from residential hold area, to an institutional area, the completion of a zoning bylaw amendment, changing the zone from AR-R, agriculture restricted zone, to I, institutional zone, the completion of a road opening bylaw to open a new public road that will provide primary and secondary access to the proposed subdivided parcel, the meeting of all other requirements identified through the circulation process, and a development agreement with the town of Neepawa to premise the development of the parcel and any other matter deemed advisable to develop the property and complete the subdivision. All in favor? Carried.
Also covered in this half of the meeting were a Beautiful Plains Community Foundation grant to Riverside Cemetery, the regular financial report, a staff training request, a budgeted vehicle purchase, a pay increase for officials in this year's municipal election, a grant for the storefront improvement program, and a policy to codify the notification procedures that took place when the town was connecting the new water line. You can view end-to-end coverage of the town council meeting elsewhere in the NACTV schedule, including immediately following this. This week's council meeting is divided into 2 parts, so be sure to check out both of them. If you do miss one, they are also available on the NACTV YouTube channel. We welcome your feedback on this program, and if you have questions or items that you'd like to see clarified or discussed, you can reach us at 204-476-2639 or by email at nactvnews@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.